Good day, everybody. Welcome to another sensational session of Strike a Chord Live podcast with my dear brother, Collin Harbor. He's right there in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. I'm Marcus Ellis. I'm here in Pensacola, Florida. Collin, why don't you tell him who we are?
We are two lifelong friends with a love of baseball, music, motivation, and inspiration mixed with a little bit of nostalgia, culture, transformation, and fun. And we want you to take the journey with us.
This is Strike a Chord Live podcast. Oh, good morning, man. What's going on?
Not much, just chilling, been hanging out with you for a little bit, talking about stuff, and now we're going to do some podcasting, some live podcasting.
Continue to talk about some stuff.
Continue to talk about some stuff with hopefully, 500 of our best friends, 5,000s of our best friends.
There you go. I love the way you think. Well, I don't know about you over there in Dallas, but it's dropping like it's here. It was a beautiful spring day. Past couple of days we had some rain, and now it's in the 50s, and by tomorrow it'll be in the 30s.
Yeah. It is freezing here. We actually have a soccer game for my daughter tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock.
Woo! It's gonna be cold.
Or 8:30, I should say. And it's in a town called Melissa, and it's like 40, Sweet Melissa. It's like 40 minutes away.
Well, did you know? This is a fun fact.
I didn't. I can guarantee you what you're about to say. I didn't know.
Melissa was written in Pensacola, Florida, on Mobile Highway.
I did
in a hotel room. That is a true fact. Greg Allman. The Allman brothers have a huge history here in Pensacola, Florida, with friends of mine. Jonathan's dad, Cecil Clark, and people he played with, Charlene Kirkpatrick, that I dearly love. She was in a singing group called the Sandpipers and went up to New York and cut a record with the Almond Joys backing them. So there's a big Pensacola. The Allman brothers were Floridians. So, but anyway, Sweet Melissa was
the Almond Joys.
Yep, the Almond Joys. My dad used to see them here. He was at a place called the Bandbox and the Peppermint Lounge. So
there's such a 60s, 50s, 60s name of a band, the Almond Joys.
It really, sometimes you feel like a nut.
So we're going to be cold. We're going to be in Melissa. It is cold here. It's windy, all kinds of stuff going on. But, we've got a great podcast planned for this morning.
Amen. And I do see Summer Star. I love you, Summer. Good to see you. And I see a couple of Facebook users. I'm going to say this for a while. For the comments to show up, you have to give StreamYard permission for your comments to show up. So when I see Facebook user, I can tell that those folks haven't done those little steps, and it's not hard. And if you need help, please reach out to me, because we'd love to see the folks that are commenting, and we'd love to acknowledge you. But
I'd also want to say one more thing too.
Yeah,
even if you're listening to us on Facebook, even if you're watching, if you have a YouTube, if you ever log into YouTube at all, if you ever got, it would be very appreciative. It would be much appreciated if you would just go YouTube, or subscribe to youtube.com/@strikeachord podcast. So @strikeachord podcast is our handle.
Our handle. Well, and I love it. And Summer helped me out. She said the person above her is Asher Ellis, which is my son, who I dearly love. So Asher, this session of Strike a Chord Live podcast is for you. You need to listen to this, because Collin, we're talking about your past does not define you. And I know that you've never done anything wrong in your life.
Yeah, I already told you I've never done anything wrong. So I don't know why you keep trying to act like I have. I've been a perfect child my whole life.
Preacher's kid.
Yeah,
Preacher's
I've
kids
tried.
never go off the rails.
What's that?
Preacher's kids never go off the
Yeah,
rails,
we
right?
are the most well-behaved people on the planet. It's funny because my mom used to say, I had 3 siblings, as you know, and we used to always fight. But like whenever, like if one of us did something wrong and like there was any sort of outside sort of criticism, that we would all band together and
Right,
defend each other, kind of
right.
keep it within. So yeah, that was
Well,
pretty
that's
cool.
I may fight with my brother, and my brother and I may fight with our cousin, and my brother and my cousin and I might fight our neighbor. It becomes
Yeah.
that thing, right? Man, I can vividly remember some fights with you and Jay and Marty, and I'm just going, wow, I'm glad I don't have any brothers because this looks brutal.
So
You know,
Marty kind of is the biggest one of us.
you're kidding me,
He's probably about 2 inches taller than me. And
really?
then, probably 15 or 20 years ago, it maybe kind of, he was still younger and maybe kind of a little bit heavier. But one time I remember I did something and he kind of like just pushed me and
Uh-huh.
I like flew. And this was as adults. So this was
Right,
when
right,
we were like 28. I
right.
was, and he kind of pushed me, kidding around, but the string, I was like, whoa, I was like, hold on. This is not my little baby brother anymore.
No, it's not. Good morning, Peggy Gossman. We love you. Well, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this. You can see our handle there. Please follow us on YouTube. Also, I'd like to make a quick announcement that we have a Facebook page that's titled Strike a Chord Live Podcast with Collin Harper and Marcus Ellison. We're phasing that one out. I had threatened to already shut it down, but I realized that to do it, I have to kick people out of it. So I want to make sure that those 500 or so people will go over to the new one that's just Strike a Chord Live Podcast and doesn't have our names at the end.
Yeah, so we got a few more weeks maybe of that until we're kind of winding it down. But so the past, so I didn't tell you I did this, but you know me, I love the artificial intelligence. I did go ask the artificial intelligence this morning, Chat GPT. I asked for some points on how to not let your past define you.
That's so awesome because I have some too, but that's not where I got it. So I want to hear yours.
You're more original. No. You go with yours. We'll see if the robots are as smart as you. If the artificial intelligence is on the same page as Mark Ellis.
Well, I see a bunch of people hopping on, so we want to say today's session is about that your past doesn't define you, and it doesn't matter what you did when you were a teenager or your 20s or how you treated somebody. Of course, we all want to ask for forgiveness for that kind of stuff, and we want to repent for those types of transgressions against others. However, there's no way to lead a good life by I was going to say harboring these things, and that's not the word I wanted, but by
Harboring.
Yeah,
I harbor things all the time.
every day,
Every
by
day.
holding onto those things. And I'm just to say, man, I'm guilty. We all know that I had a little incident in high school. I've never done any drugs but that's not true. I went through a period of that, like all of us do, and I had what I felt like a defining moment in my life, and it's taken me many, many, many years to get over and let it go. So I wish that I had you and I a while back to tell us that the past is the past. It's gone. It's over. Right. And what you do today defines you, and I've got my hustle shirt on today because I'm going to be hustling. Do today defines you. So I don't know if you know this about me, Collin, but I'm an overthinker. I think a lot and I could dwell on some things. So the first piece of advice that I can give you is to capture your thoughts, to stop that habit, right? Stop the habit of mulling over something negative. I was talking with my sister, Allison, yesterday on the phone, and she told me something very interesting, that there is half the population, and I don't think you'll fall into this category, but there's a half of the population that does not think, that do not talk to themselves inside their head. They're not capable of it. So, do you talk to yourself and have conversations with yourself in your head?
I do, and I'm laughing because you on one of our previous episodes. Actually, it was in this season 3, because I did a funny clip out of it. Is that we know that if you talk to yourself, it's a sign of genius, and
Amen.
we know, Mark, that you talk to yourself, so we know that you're a genius.
Yeah, we talked about the mock fights. That I've had mock fights with people that never even happened, and don't do that. So let's capture your thoughts. And this is probably number one, is probably the hardest one to do, is to stop that habit of thinking about, oh man, I did that person wrong. I stole or something from somebody, or I said something. And then that guilt rises up in you, and there's no way to be productive or positive. So this is the hardest one, is to capture your thoughts, right? Um,
Yeah, and I think with the artificial intelligence on his or her or their, I don't know what the pronouns are of an artificial
it's
intelligence, but
it,
it,
yeah,
that seems offensive. Like,
it's a computer, man.
that seems really offensive. But the artificial intelligence would say practice self-awareness, and I think
Ooh,
that's the same thing, because what it says is practice self-awareness, understand that you have the power to shape your own identity and that you are not solely defined by your past experience. And I think that's what you're saying, right? Collect
right,
your thoughts, organize your thoughts, get them together, realize that, hey, you can't change what you've done now, right? It's
right.
in the past. Um, there's nothing you can do about it, but today defines you.
Right. And in those, those repetitive negative thoughts, that's the enemy coming in saying you aren't good enough. You don't have the skills you think you have. And Summer Star says, protect those thoughts by asking God to keep you focused on him and his kingdom. And that's exactly it, because the enemy doesn't want you to be free from pain and fear and all those things. So I'm talking to myself. This, number one, capture your thoughts and move on from those thoughts, is very important. The second one is think about the person that you want to be, right? Focus on what you want to be, because you and I have done sessions on speak it into existence, right? And as you and I think about being better men, better humans, better businessmen, we become that because those are our thoughts. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm a loser, I did this or whatever, you're right. What's the Henry Ford quote? Whether you think you can or can't, you're right. It's the same thing. As you're going through life, you have to think about being a better person.
Yeah, you are your thoughts. I mean, you're kind of this collective uh, uh, person or being of your thoughts and your actions. But we focus so much on the negative. Like you mentioned, your high school and years to get over.
Right.
I was pretty wild, and then as I started to, become a more responsible adult, then it's hard to not think about those things and think, man, that was horrible, this. But then, like, I developed a time where I just kind of laughed it all off. I was like, look, I was just me as a kid,
Exactly.
there's not, it doesn't matter at all. I mean, it matters, like if anybody was hurt or anything like that, but you
Sure.
know, just being a kid, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's different. But you're this collection of your thoughts and your actions through the years. But it's difficult for us to get over that because we want to focus on the negative, focus on the past, focus on that one thing, focus on this, focus on the other, instead of focusing on the, hey, today I just did something positive. Today's actions define me. People remember this forever, right?
Exactly. Like walking up to somebody and telling them you love them.
And I'm not going to do this all throughout, but I'm looking at one of these points here. You're going to get mad at me, like it's going to be the AI show, but the AI,
I'm never mad at you.
the Chat GPT would say, forgive yourself, recognize
Ooh,
that you're human, and that making mistakes is as natural. Is Oh, this is good, and that making mistakes is a natural part of the human experience.
man, that I didn't think about that.
I haven't
That
thought about it that way, right? I
yeah,
mean, it's just it's just gonna happen. You
right.
breathe, you're gonna make mistakes.
We're human. We're not
We're human.
perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I love that. Meditate on positive things. You know, Uh, I mean, I could just think, all the time I've wasted having those mock fights, and I used to have a boss that would talk about what he's going to say to somebody, in a business situation about, and he would say, "And I said, and I said, and I said," and I was like, "Did this already happen?" Or no, no, I'm talking about this gonna, but he was saying it as if it was the past, right? And so we can get so jumbled up in our thoughts, right? That man, it can just we can really wreck ourselves. So, like Ice Cube said, chickadee check yourself before you wreck yourself,
Chickadee check. That's right. That
right?
is. You
Yeah,
should, man. It's
yeah,
not even that big of a deal. And I think the older I get, I mean, I've done some really stupid things in my life. I
Yeah,
think
we all have.
at this point, I think so. I'm 51. I can say at least one of the things that I don't. Well, no, I don't want to say it that way. Never mind. But I've done pretty stupid things. I don't want to jinx myself and say something and then have it like happen
I hear
today.
you. All right, so here's one of my favorite ones, and this has never been. Well, I take that back. That's not true. But become deaf to the naysayers. Right. The here's the thing. If you have haters, you're doing something right. Right. So if people are, I mean, I have that incident that I'm talking about in high school all the time. Hey, remember when well, yeah, it happened to me. Of course I remember that.
How
They
would I
like,
not remember it? Like,
right. They like to bring up the negative aspects in your life because they see you being like you, calling a baller businessman, or me on stage singing, and they want to tear you down because they feel insignificant because they're not doing something that you're doing, when it's like, go make your own way, baby. Like, I can't cook as well as somebody can. Like our buddy Michael Shukar. I'm sure you and I, if we tried to like put something together ourselves, a dish, this guy would blow us away, right? But are we going to be upset about that? No, we all have unique individual talents and skills and things like that. I was telling you, I wish I had your business development mind, right? I don't have the same thing that you do, but that doesn't mean I'm going to tear you down because of that. So we have to become deaf to the naysayers.
you have to become deaf to the naysayers. You have to, forgive yourself. You have to not listen to, but the naysayers can also be inside of your head. So we talked about it. We
Ooh,
talked about talking to yourself, right? And I'll give you an example. Like I don't know, maybe a couple weeks ago, I kind of slacked off and let the day go by, and I had a couple of things that I needed to get done,
right?
and I didn't do them. I was like, oh man, that's Colin, here you go. God, you just let stuff go without getting it done, right? And I think we're talking about social media clips and stuff like that. So it was
Right.
just marketing. Just well, the next day I was like, well, you didn't do it yesterday. Why are you going to do it today, right? So it's just this mind. Your mind starts playing tricks with you too, right? Your mind starts fooling you just like others would.
Yeah. Yeah. No, when that happens, I mean, we both work from home. It is real easy to go, you know what? I need to fold the laundry. I'm going to do the dishes for my wife. I'm going to do these things. It's real easy to get distracted at home. And then it's real easy to go, man, I did all these things, but I didn't do the thing that I was going to say that I was going to do. But now, instead of going, man, I did all these things, I go, wow, I still accomplished something. I cleaned something up. It's not best for my business. It's not a good practice. I'm not recommending it to anybody, but flipping that script on yourself, right? And saying, at least I didn't sit on the couch and watch the 1965 World Series with Cheetos on my chest like I did the other day. Man, I found on TV, I found in 1965 the Dodgers against the Twins, Vin Scully, black and white. It was so good. But anyways,
Yeah, and I spend some time on business documentaries like on Netflix and Hulu. So like
right.
there's a Bernie Madoff, which
Oh,
I'm
wow.
laughing because I can't believe this guy pulled this off for years. I mean,
Right.
there's a great one on Theranos. I can't think of her name right now, but if you're familiar with that company, she pulled a big fraud too. And so my point is sometimes I don't watch the World Series. Sometimes I watch the same documentary that I've already watched before, right? Or
Well, you
I've watched
you get,
Breaking Bad all the way through like 6 times.
I've only seen part of the first episode of Breaking Bad. We've talked about that before. Once the person in the bathroom tub fell through, I was done. I never watched another episode.
You didn't. You gotta watch Breaking. It is an incredible. Okay, we're not going to go down this route, but it's an incredible series, I think.
Right, right. Well, I guess that that popcorn commercial they did for the Super Bowl was the last time that Bryan Cranston and those other actors were revisiting Breaking Bad. They said, "That's it. We're not doing anything else." But they
Yeah.
just did that commercial. But the last one I have on my list, and why I like to have you here with me, is to surround yourself with positive people. Surround yourself with ballers. Because if you surround yourself with the naysayers and those that like to point fingers, you're going to become one of them. If you surround yourself with people who are lifting other people up, who are balling, who are doing the things that you've always wanted to do, you're going to become them.
So I'm gonna do a shameless plug. You know, I told you the other day that I restarted Harbor Time podcast. I used to have a business podcast called Harbor Time Strategy Talks. I relaunched it as Harbor Time, just like, you know, hey, it's
Ah,
Miller time, it's Harbor
Harbor
Time.
Time.
And the first episode was one that you and I did as a pilot episode of another as another podcast. So hey, the other thing is if you're on YouTube, you can go to at Harbor Time and you can subscribe there. All that to say, I did an episode yesterday that I recorded about how to hustle harder in 2023 because I
Ooh,
woke up the other day and was like, golly, it's already 6 weeks in and there's certain things I haven't done. I've got to get refocused. So it was really more about myself. But one of the points in there is how are you going to hustle harder in 2023 is you're going to remember that it's about the tribe, right? It's about who you surround yourself with. You're going to be like the people you associate with. So, Mark, I know you were real good about it during the pandemic, and now even, you know, with the clubhouse
right.
that you're going into, right? The clubhouse rooms and the people, the ballers as we refer to,
Yeah.
right? Or the motivational speakers, the people who have companies, and you're really good about that. Not everybody, I'm not as good at that part of it, and actually I really want to be, but it's about surrounding yourself with good people. And one of the examples I gave is, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk. We've talked about him. Gary V. You can go out and sign up for getting texts from Gary V. Now you're not
Right.
really getting texts from Gary V, right? I'm sure, but they always seem to come at the right time. You know,
I love
10:05 on Tuesday after something's gone wrong. It's like, hey, don't worry about that stuff that just happened, man. You're gonna, you know, crush your goals right now. All you got to do is do this. So, but it's that same thing. It's the positive messages. It's
yes.
surrounding yourself with positive people. We all have people who are going to bring us down. We all do. Every single one of us, whether it's lifelong people we've known or new people we meet in an industry or
Yep.
whatever the case is, you don't want to be somebody that brings them down. But yes, so if you want to not let your past define you, then you might have to surround yourself with different people than you've surrounded in the past. But most importantly, you need to surround yourself with positive people, says Mark Ellis, Collin Harbor, and Chat GPT. That was one of their final points, was surround yourself with
Was
positivity.
it?
Yeah.
Was it really?
Says
Wow.
surround yourself with positivity. It says surround yourself with positive people, places, and things that help you feel good about yourself and your future.
Wow. That is great. I mean, it's so amazing that I'm on the same page with Chat GPT.
Yeah,
I feel
you and
so
the artificial intelligence are both geniuses. But
we're
you're
on the
right.
same page.
We've all had stages of our life where we surround ourselves with people maybe that aren't necessarily sharpening us.
Right. Oh man, for a long time, you know. Um, yeah, man, I was going to say so. Yeah, I did not plan to wear this hustle shirt when you're talking about your releasing a hustle episode, but all of the letters here are made up of super baller words. So there's a bunch of words in there. But
Oh,
anyways,
nice.
I was talking. Here's the thing, too, is that we always think the grass is greener. I was talking with our good buddy Ryan Gallagher, who I dearly love, and he is like the baller real estate investor in my book. And I said, man, yesterday we were on the phone. I said, when I grow up, I want to be you. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, when I grow up, I want to be you. You're a rock star on stage. And it's all perception, right? It's we always want something that somebody else has, and instead of stealing it from them, why don't you just hug up to them and glean a little bit, have some osmosis or whatever, have it rub off on you, and then you take that ball and run. And that's what I love about surrounding myself with people who are doing. And you mentioned Clubhouse. I really don't do that anymore because it got to the point where, like, okay, I've got all that information from those people. It started becoming repetitive. It was the same thing. I'm like, why am I sitting here listening to people doing it where I need to go out and do it? Right. And so I kind of let that go. I'll hop in there every now and then, but when I go back, it's the same thing. So I really, during the pandemic, it changed my life. I got, that type of information, that type of positivity that led to this. Right. And now I'm taking it and run. So, when you're in that mindset of going, why did I do that? Why did I do that thing? Why did I say that to them? Or, okay, acknowledge it, let it go, replace that negative thought with a positive thought, and then move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's tough to do sometimes, right? It's tough. And by the way, once you move past, once you move past it, it doesn't mean you're not going to do something stupid again, right? I mean, I've been out, with friends as adults, as grown adults, sometimes, watching a game or whatever, and we may end up kind of doing something kind of stupid, right? I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know if
it's
that
usually
makes
when you're with
sense.
your buddies, right?
What's that?
It's usually when you're with your buddies, right?
When you're with your buddies, because everybody thinks, oh, we're still 18. We're
Yeah,
still in college.
yeah.
No, we're not. We're 51. We're 51. Why are we doing this stuff?
You can't go play mailbox baseball at 51.
Yeah, you can't throw, you can't, yeah, you can't, yeah, you can't
You-
do this stuff. So I guess my point is, if you're younger and you're listening to this and you're thinking,
oh
okay, well,
man,
all I got to do is follow these steps that they're talking about. Well, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Don't let the past define you. Don't let the stupid stuff, even if you think it's more dumb than other people, right? People don't understand. No, everybody's done stuff. And then everybody's kind of got secret stuff that they've done that they hope
oh yeah,
nobody ever knows, right?
oh yeah.
I mean, that happens and that goes that way. But you got to stay focused too, right? You got to stay focused moving forward because you're probably going to do something stupid again. You're probably going to relapse, for lack of a better word, right? You're probably going to relapse into stupidity and do something stupid again to maybe even 10 years from now,
Well,
maybe even 8 years from now.
what you just said struck a chord with me. Let's talk to the younger people, because take it from 250-year-olds who, I mean, I know that you would have loved to have had this information at 27, 30. So now I don't know if we would have accepted it, but I want to talk to the young people out there, the younger people, that, man, you have a golden opportunity in this age of technology and awareness. Like this stuff was not around when you and I were in our 20s and 30s. You would have to meet somebody to get this type of information, because there was no internet, there were no cell phones, there was none of that stuff. So you would have to come upon somebody. So if you're younger, and I'm trying not to cough, and if I do, I'll just mute out. If you're younger, please take this advice. What you did yesterday, whether it was good or bad, does not define you. The way you react to today, the way you handle yourself today is what defines you, right? And if you've done some things that you're not necessarily proud of, okay, try not to do them again, acknowledge them and let them go. That didn't work for me, so I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do this positive thing.
Not only that, I'd say find gracious people. We talk about surrounding yourself with positive people. Like I feel like, Mark, I feel like you and I are extremely gracious because of the things that we've done in the past, and because of how we want to be to others, and because of the fact that we want to just influence people positively, right? So I
Right.
would say, again, if you've made a mistake, or if you, and we're using it like, oh, if you've made a mistake, but if you've done something stupid is the way that I define it, right? Because I've got
Yes.
a teenager and I always tell her, don't do anything dumb tonight. Don't. But I
Good luck.
know that there's more of a chance that she will. And then her friends come over and the guys are, oh no, we're not. They're all Eddie Haskells, right? They're
Yeah.
all Eddie Haskells. And I'm like, guys, I'm not buying any of this. I just don't want y'all to do anything stupid. I don't want you to get hurt or
Yeah.
hurt somebody else. Now I'm 51 and I've lost my train of thought. I was going somewhere with this before I started doing the Eddie Haskell bit. So I'm gonna have to. Oh, never mind. Move on. I really can't. I can't
No,
believe
come
this.
on.
I lost my train.
No, but you're true. I mean, and I can't see who it is. A Facebook user is saying, "Good morning. I'm turning 40 this year, and I know I still got plenty of time to grow. Just get better every day." Amen. I mean, I would, man, if you're turning 40, man, you have a golden opportunity to really do. I mean, from 40 to 50, golly, the things that you and I accomplished and did. I mean, white tie's been around. We're in our 11th year. So I was in my late 30s when white tie started, and to see the growth, and we're talking about those exponential steps, incremental steps to become golly, I can't talk, those incremental steps to get there. but just don't dwell on the negative. That's the point. And I mean, I won singing contest. It doesn't matter. It's in the past. That's a positive thing. It was a very positive thing in my life, but it doesn't matter, right? What matters is how I go out there today and today. Be present today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Ringo said, "Tomorrow never knows," right? Be concerned about the present. Be present. Be here now.
Yeah. I mean, that if you could change the stupid thing that you did, you've created a time machine. You could go, and I don't mean don't, if you've hurt somebody, not you, Mark, but if
Right.
you've hurt somebody, I don't mean don't go apologize to them, right? If
Right.
you're truly sorry. I don't mean don't try to make it right if it's something that you've done wrong that you can make right. But it's about defining. And if you think you can go back and change it, you can't, right? You can't. You can't change words that you've said to someone. You can't change actions that you've taken. You can maybe correct it, but live in the moment. Like Mark said, this is the moment. Today is what is going to define you, not
Well,
5 years ago.
I know we got to wrap up, but you just struck a chord with me. That's an amazing point. Man, everything that you've done in the past, good and bad, everything you've done in the past got you to this moment right here. And if you went back to change, you would not be where you are now. So it could be different. I mean, I think about, man, I would just love to go back in time and go see more Dead shows and things like that. And then I'd be like, wait a minute though, I wouldn't have my children, because something would happen differently, right? And so if you could go back and you remember this life and you go back, it would alter everything. You might not meet your wife, you might not get that job you always wanted. So why are we thinking about the past? Everything that you've done in the past have gotten you here right now, and the present is exactly perfect.
Absolutely. I noticed somebody made the butterfly effect. But butterfly effect. I was just thinking about the butterfly effect reference on the comments. But you're
Yeah,
right. Yeah. One thing goes different. You don't know the person. You you don't know the people that you know now, right? You don't know,
right.
just a slight change in the trajectory, just a slight change in course. So yeah, this is good. I know we're actually at the end here, but I mean, don't let your past define you. You just, there's no reason to. I mean, it's simple. I know that's not, very motivational and but don't let it define you.
Yeah,
Focus on today. But I think the best thing that I took from this, and hopefully others do, is surround yourself with the right people.
yeah,
Surround yourself, if you're in business, surround yourself with smart business people. If you want to be, a good volunteer, surround yourself with the positive people doing that, not the negative.
yeah.
If you're trying to get out of a hole or out of a rut, find people who've done it before. Find people who are going to text you and say, "Hey, did you do that thing today?" And if you did, they're going to congratulate you. They're going to push you. And if you didn't, they're not going to get on to you. They might say, "Hey, all right." They're still going to encourage you, right?
Love it. That's so great. Man, well, this has been awesome. I'd love to keep doing it. I do want to acknowledge Shelly Jean is here, and she said, I wouldn't have met you and heard this if I went back in time. And amen, sister, I love you. I would like to say that this has been brought to you by Little Family Landscaping today. The Littles are here. They're always such great supporters of us, and we appreciate you guys. And man, this has been fun. I've had a great time, man. Let's do it again on Wednesday.
Let's do it again on Wednesday. And we'll be putting some of this stuff out in some shorter clips over the next couple of weeks. Oh, Bruce Polar, look at that. He's got his name on Facebook. He just said hi in the comments.
We love Bruce Pulver. So if you would do us a favor, hey, please go to YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube page. That would really help us out. Go to the new Strike a Chord Live podcast Facebook page and follow us there, because the 500 or so people that are on the other one is going to shut down. And just follow. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We believe in you guys. You're going to have the best day ever, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday. All right, Collin?
I will see you later.
All right.
And we'll
Peace,
see everybody
y'all.
else later.
Thanks so much.